Montreal Tower, good evening. Air Canada 431, we're holding short 24 left, ready for takeoff.
All right, clear for takeoff, lights are on.
When you get clear for takeoff, you put on the takeoff lights, signaling that all the checks are done. Then when you apply full thrust and you're barreling down the runway, there's that inner smile that always comes when you know you're going flying. My name is Doug Morris, captain on the Airbus 320 flying for Air Canada. I was born in Newfoundland but grew up in Halifax. I've amassed over 17,000 hours of flying time. That's equivalent from driving from Toronto to Montreal and back again daily for 4 years. What is it with flying? And people ask me that frequently. I don't know, just to get up into the sky, serenity, peacefulness, you just can't beat it.
Right turn heading 240.
Right turn, heading 240. In the right turn.
Roger.
24 in the heading. 4,000 for 5,000.
Roger, 4,005.
Speed out, start.
I fly the Airbus 320, 319, and 321. They are different. We know that the 319, the smaller of the three Airbuses, it's going to climb like a homesick angel. The 320 is a great all-rounded small Airbus. And the 321, it carries a lot of passengers. However, it's a bit of a dog up at altitude, and it takes a little while to get up at altitude, but still it's a great airplane. I know that when I apply takeoff thrust, everything is going to be working tickety-boo. And when I get airborne, everything will be working tickety-boo. And when I land, everything will be working tickety-boo. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's your Captain Doug Morris speaking. Welcome on Flight 401 en route to Toronto. We're presently level at 30,000 feet, and we'll be approaching to Toronto in about 10 minutes. We thank you very much for flying Air Canada. The passengers? Well, after September 11th, there's the pre-September 11th and after September 11th. Pre-September 11th, it was great. You could have passengers up the flight deck. You could talk to them, and sometimes even if you took a real liking to them and you knew that they were okay, you'd even have them up for the landing. But now the flight deck door is closed. You rarely see them, although our procedure is, and my procedure is, when we deplane, I always stand by the flight deck door and say goodbye and say thank you. And I think they appreciate that, and I certainly appreciate that. If they knew what was going on behind the scenes and how people are so conscientious to get things done and to get things done right, they'd certainly appreciate what we have to do and what we go through. A lot of people are very inquisitive. A lot of people have always had the desire to fly. So I thought I would share the wealth of information that I come across and share the wealth of excitement that comes with the job. Bye, Vepna.
Vepna is 1840, Mr. Approach 3100 set.
Knowledge is power. So when they know why we're getting turbulence and why turbulence is not dangerous and what we can do to alleviate the problem, I think they're going to really appreciate it. There's some really neat stuff to see and there's some really neat stuff to learn.
336 altimeter at Toronto, 2997.
I'm amazed how many people love talking about their job and the passion they have for their job. They'll go on for hours if I let them.
Usually, how long does it take to change a tire?
It can take up to about an hour if there's no problems, but we can do it in less than an hour, say 30 minutes approximately.
Typically, it takes 2 guys to change a tire.
2 to 3, yeah, 3 for the larger ones. It's just because of the safety aspect of it, especially slippery conditions outdoors or icy conditions. It's nice to have a third man when you're trying to handle a heavy wheel like that.
And you use a jack just, well, similar to to a car, but I guess that jack is a little bit more powerful. How many?
Yes, our jacks, these ones can lift 60 tons.
60 tons.
And the nose wheel ones, where they're a much smaller jack, they can lift approximately 10 tons. Aircraft will be jacked following the safety precautions. The brakes have to be set, the tire equipment prepared, and the hubcap removed, the nut undone, and the wheel removed. It has to be deflated before the high pressure nitrogen has to be removed first. The new tire comes with nitrogen in it already to a specified pressure. There's job tickets for all these procedures with instructions, so we'll follow that step by step.
Aero 4 inspection, that was done.
Each step is signed for by each technician or licensed technician as we proceed through them. The inspections, the axle has to be inspected and the brake has to be inspected. If the wheel is being reinstalled, the wheel has to be inspected as well. And then the new wheel will be installed after the inspections if everything is okay and found to be satisfactory. Then the new wheel will be installed, and then it's torqued to a specification, also varying depending upon the model of wheel and model of aircraft. And then the hubcap reinstalled and the brakes released as the wheel is rotated for torquing.
Now there's another department I bestow 100% confidence in, the maintenance department. Whenever we have a little glitch, a little snag, I know they're going to fix it to 100%, and I know these guys are top-notch. I trust everyone. Flight dispatch, they look after all the aspects of the flight plan. The fuelers, they're going to put in the right amount of fuel. The cargo guys down below, it goes on and on and on, who we bestow trust in, but I know it's all going to get done, and they do a great job.
And today, ladies and gentlemen, Captain Moore speaking on behalf of First Officer Randy Mark. Welcome to Flight 431. We are well to descend into Toronto Airport this time. We're just showing about 15 miles back. Let's maybe test drive about 10 minutes. That'll be about 10 past 1 o'clock. We're just moving Toronto. Mostly cloudy, temperature is 15 degrees Celsius. Thank you. Flying Air Canada.
As we're flying along, we would get the most update weather, and sometimes, yeah, we notice that the visibility is coming down.
6223 back, just stay with me, I'll have you order tower when you're closer. 400.
Land green. Roger. 100 above. Roger.
Sitting in safe for quarter 426. Cleared visual approach on 126.
Minimum's runway in sight.
Landing. Autopilot on.
The instruments on board the modern airliners and the airports nowadays in most of North America, we can get down pretty low and very low visibility before we can't land. So there's not too many airports that we can't land at. In fact, the airplane I fly in, the entire fleet at Air Canada, has auto-land capabilities.
Reverse screen.
If I can't do it, I push a button and tell the airplane to do it. And we monitor the instruments all the way down and wait for the bump. The accuracy of the instrument landing system is so accurate that we have to disengage the autopilot in order to get off the runway, because the autopilot will try to bring us right back to the center line. So we have to disengage the autopilot and say, okay, that's enough, it's enough, I'll take it from here. And but getting from the runway to the terminal can be a challenge too in low visibility. One time when we landed in a snowstorm in Newfoundland, we couldn't see just within meters in front of the airplane, so we had to request the fire truck of the airport to come out and guide us in. And that was many years ago, and it was sort of in my bush flying days. I don't think passengers realize just how many departments there are behind the scenes, working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to get an airline safely airborne. And I think when people realize just what's going on behind closed doors, they would be amazed, and I think they'd be very interested. They would be less intimidated, there would be less fear of flying. It would just be more an enjoyable experience. I really think a lot of people are interested in aviation, and I just like to spread the word and open up that flight deck door and just show people how great a job I do have.